Well, thank you, everyone. Welcome to our Fall 2022 Informatics Forum. I think we're all very excited to have you attend and also to show you what's in store and what's new with the version 7.0. So what I'll talk about today is, no, sorry about that. Well, my apologies. What I'll talk about today is essentially what we have going on with version 7.0, how we came to develop the new features in 7.0, and the work that went behind trying to implement not just a new look, but also improved functionalities. And what I'll do then is I'll just move forward and highlight three specific products: our ELN, our RegMol, and our inventory product, where I'll show you a few features and updates in those products. I will not go through an exhaustive list of release notes and what we've done, but I'll just zoom in on things that we've heard back from clients, as well as internal feedback that we've gotten from our subject matter experts. After that, as Joanna mentioned, I'll discuss the Scilligence roadmap, what we have in store for next year, and what we plan even for beyond. And also give you a little bit of a sneak preview as to how we come up with these ideas and the process that it takes to put something in the roadmap and to try to implement it. And then I'll end with a partnership update, welcoming a brand new partner that we signed on this year, as well as updates to our existing partners and the work that we've done, some enhanced features that we've developed. I will go over the 20-minute mark. I believe we had this time stored for 2 presentations. Unfortunately, one had to drop. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can. And I'll have a timer in front of me to keep me honest so that I don't blabber too much. So please bear with me. So what's new? So version 7.0 is essentially a culmination of several things: UI UX improvements based on client feedback. We had internal product team discussions, developer input, and we also hired a professional design firm to help us redesign the software. One of the things that we had heard consistently throughout the last couple of years was that our software is functional and it works great, but it's looking a little dated. And it was this feedback that we took to heart, and we decided to come up with a plan and decide to try to redesign our software. We had to be careful that we couldn't change the look too much or the functionality too much and essentially alienate our existing users. But we had to strike a delicate balance between a refreshed look, improved functionality, and familiarity. As you can imagine, this is not easy. It took a lot of time, effort, numerous meetings, meetings with our design firm, discussion with our developers to see what we could and couldn't do. And overall, I think we came out with a product that we're all proud of. What you'll notice in the new look is that it's been professionally redesigned, meaning that rather than relying internally on our own ideas and design, inputs, we actually hired a design firm to help us out through this process. And it's far more complicated than I had ever imagined, but it certainly was worthwhile. And we're still implementing some new designs, some new ideas. And we did focus on improving the user interface, user experience. One of the main things that was requested was a dark mode. Dark mode seems to be the rage nowadays, and this is one thing that we worked quite hard to make sure that the colors that we chose are both compatible in dark mode and normal or light mode display. We also moved the banner, as I'll show you in some screenshots, and we streamlined our icons. We also have a lot of improved functionalities, and this was internal redesign, again, based on client feedback and based on just really good ideas that we have internally from our support team, from our product managers that go through this software on a day-to-day basis. So to give you an idea of just overall the change in look from our past version 6.x, excuse me, I believe the numbered version was 6.9 something, toward the new one, I'm showing you a highlight here of our product tiles. These were our old version 6.x product tiles that had the look of last year, if you will, right? It served well. It was it has the functionality. You can clearly see what each product entails based on the tile and the letter that's associated with it, and maybe some pixelated pictures. But in working with a design firm, we have a new version. So immediately you see the difference. We have a dark mode capability within our software, and these are just the tiles. we had redesigned product icons so that they're not just letters, but the letters actually represent what the product actually does. For example, with the ELN, it was designed to look like a lab notebook with the implementation of a monitor. The colors were changed too. We were going through a rainbow-like color palette for our products, and instead of doing so, we decided to mute it down and have a more visually pleasing gradient look with our color palette. So the difference, I think, speaks for itself, and this is just the reskinning and the reimagining of our product. Again, moving forward, we're going to improve it even more. With that, I'm going to discuss a couple of product updates, focusing on ELN, RegMol, and inventory. I will say this is not meant to be an exhaustive list of all the changes and improvements that we've made, but rather just zoom in on features that we've noticed came up quite often during client feedbacks, as well as internally with our discussions. The first one will be our electronic lab notebook. So we're continuously improving our electronic lab notebook to meet the evolving industry needs. Something that we've done from the beginning is we have a unified platform that allows for the display and the working of both small molecules with chemistry and biologics. And we're able to do that because of our Helm web editing technology. With this complementary unified platform, we're able to build and improve the capability of the ELN by adding more features, because the platform is customizable. So as new therapeutic modalities evolve, we're able to keep up with those modalities because of the underlying technology that is built into our ELN. In terms of 7.0, we did make some biology and chemistry template improvements, such as usability improvements, optimized single-step reaction calculations, and other plate template enhancements. A common feedback that we got from our existing users was the PDF rendering. They wanted to see the PDF rendered similar to what they were seeing on their screen. The example is, let's say a chemist doesn't want to take their laptop to the lab and work under a hood. They would like to print it out and be able to make notes on a piece of paper. One of the frustrations was that the PDF printout did not look similar to the display in the screen. And this was actually something that we heard quite often. And we worked really hard to improve the rendering of the experiments. And I'll show you this in a screenshot that's coming up next. Microsoft Office integration was also something that was highly requested. Now within our ELN, within an experiment, you're able to edit your Microsoft Office document within the ELN app. So rather than going outside, opening a Word file, editing it, and re-uploading it to the experiment, you can actually edit it inside the ELN. We did improve a few admin functionalities and user controls, mainly co-authorship access, as well as some more advanced admin access for our admin users. And of course, security and access has been enhanced. It supports different access management software, so we're able to integrate more seamlessly with either Okta or Azure. Okay. And again, the design is different here. You have your laptop with your notebook, and here's our product icon. So you're going to notice a theme as I present. There's going to be a before and then after. And so in the home page for our existing users, you're going to see the 6.0 or 6.x homepage. It had a functional, but it was a dated look. As I mentioned earlier, the challenge was we couldn't change this too much to essentially alienate our existing users, but we wanted to be able to give it a refreshed look. So there was a delicate balance there. As we move forward to other versions, we're going to improve the functionality, but right now you can see an immediate difference in the enhanced look with minimal changes to the way the tiles are laid out. For example, the tabs, we were able to differentiate them rather than by a square. We have color differentiation in the background. There's a more visually pleasing background color that's not as hurtful to the eyes as the previous stark white versus the black banner background. We did decide to move our top banner to the left-hand side to make it a little bit more modern, as well as remove the words and replace it with icons. If you still hover over these main icon functionalities, a tooltip will appear that will tell you what it was before. But we decided to streamline the width of the banner to allow for more real estate space within the work that you're going to be doing. So that's our home page. Okay. And as I mentioned, we were careful not to change too much too quickly, but rather gradually introduce some changes, especially for our existing users. Our workspace, one of the main pieces of feedback we got with the workspace, and actually throughout our other products as well, was the inability to sort these columns, filter and sort. There was a limited ability to do so from the top banner that you see here. So we could, for example, sort by status type, form type, but what people really wanted was being able to click on these columns and sort by them. So we did introduce that feature in 7.0. Now you have these little arrows that allows you to sort by ascending or descending order, or we have a filter feature where if we click on this filter funnel icon, you can now, it'll enable you to access each row and filter through it in descending order. Okay. For our single step reaction, we wanted to keep it very similar to what it was before, but we have made some behind the hood improvements or under the hood improvements in the functionality. I'm not going to go through those all in depth today, but there are calculation improvements, concentration, display improvements, and also the amount, unit consistency improvements that have been frequently requested by our existing users. Again, you notice the difference between the old look, just stark white, and the new revamped look. One other feature we've worked hard on is co-authorship of experiments. You'll notice now in the new single step reaction, there's going to be a parenthesis that tells you who is editing this experiment. At the moment, since I'm the only owner of the experiment, it'll only show my name. But if we have a co-authorship enabled, it'll show who is editing your experiment at that time so that you can coordinate, collaborate with your partner or your co-authors with particular experiments. Okay. Improved PDF rendering. What I neglected to show you was the before of the PDF rendering. I'm realizing that now. But one of the things that existing users often told us was that the reactant, reagent, and solvent product tables did not look at all with what they saw in the other screen. And it was actually unintelligible. So we redesigned the way the table is displayed to make it more user-friendly or reader-friendly, and people could actually jot down notes on it and be able to see what they saw on the screen. So again, I'm highlighting things that were consistent feedback issues that we got from clients, as well as solutions that we got from our internal subject matter experts. All right, and that's for ELN. I'm going to move on now. Oh, actually, no, I'm forgetting the Microsoft Office integration. The next one is the Microsoft Office integration. So as I mentioned earlier, you can upload a Word document or a Microsoft Office document to our existing experiment in ELN. And in the past, you had a few choices. You either utilized our built-in Word-like box to populate your documentation or your information. You can upload an actual Word document and have it here in our drop file section. But now what we've done is we've included this editing feature where if you click on this pencil icon, it'll actually allow you to open up Microsoft Word, edit it, and when you save it, it'll show you the inline editing office. The inline editing within the ELN. So this is something that we think was long overdue. It was not a trivial feat, but kudos to our developers for enabling this functionality into our ELN. I'll now move on to, to our RegMol product. So RegMol serves a dual purpose, right? In that it serves as the registration of a variety of different modalities and different molecular entities. But it also is an assay data warehouse where it's essentially the source of truth for information of those registered entities. You can also manage your protocol creation for assay development within RegMol as well. So it's a workhorse of a module. We wanted to make sure that we not only improved the look and the feel of RegMol, but also made some usability or user experience improvements. One of the things that we were able to improve within RegMol for 7.0 was entity-specific uniqueness check. What do I mean by that? What we were seeing is that if clients or users wanted to register an entity or a molecule with a different entity type, they would get an error saying that this has already been registered. So for example, if I were to register a peptide, and then I wanted to register that same structure as a small molecule, an error would come out saying, this has already been registered as a peptide. You are unable to register the same molecule as a different entity. We've gone ahead and fixed that. So now you are able to have entity-specific uniqueness check, in that if you're registering something under the same entity, it will check within that entity to make sure you didn't register it before and then create a batch 2. But it will not provide the error message if it was under a different entity, such as small molecule or peptide. We also implemented some assay view enhancements. Assay view is a way for users to view data, assay data with a specific set of molecules, either uploaded by a molecule list or by typing in the compound ID themselves. Again, we added the improved filtering and sorting that I showed you earlier, excuse me, in the ELN section. And of course, we also harmonized our icons, make sure that they were consistent throughout our product. And we had an improved cart feature that I'll show you in the screen coming up. And we also were able to harmonize privileges and user roles within the admin functionality. So when you're adding a new user, the roles that were enabled in ELN were very different from that of RegMol, were very different from that of inventory. So we've been working to harmonize those type of privileges and roles. This is still something that we're working on, and we implement it as we develop it for different products. So you'll see the same thing. This is what RegMol used to look like in 6.x, and this is the enhanced display, or the new 7.0 display for the home page. The cart feature, some feedback that we got from clients was that the cart feature is nice. This allows you to create pick lists. Essentially, you can pick from your list, you can pick from your list of entities and add them to our cart. And that allows you to then do a variety of functions from this cart list. But some feedback that we got was that we couldn't see structures within this cart list. So it was very difficult for them to visualize what they were putting into the cart. So what we did is we allowed not only the structure capability within the cart list, but again, throughout all of our products now, we have the sorting and the filter funneling feature with this table. So people are able to upload a variety of items in the cart, filter by either compound ID, date, etc., and then move forward with their day-to-day workflow. And of course, we've added some new modalities that you can register. In 6.x, we have a list here of modalities. This is going to be a screenshot, so please reach out to us if you want more information on this. But we were able to add different modalities, in particular formulation modalities, such as the excipients, different types of biologics now, from virus to fungi, and as well as enhanced conjugate registration capabilities with the 7.0. All right. How am I on time? I think I'm doing good. I'll now move on to inventory and highlight a few things. As I was showing earlier with the enhanced capabilities of sorting and just a visualization of our module from 6.x to 7.0, inventory was the one that we actually started on first. Our inventory product is a very powerful module in that it's not just stockroom management of your reagents. It actually allows you to not only upload a variety of modalities in different chemical, biological, tissue culture, all types of reagents, but it also allows you to create plates, to solubilize dry powder, to interface with workflows, either with ELN or RegMol, or perhaps let's say you want a compound request, compound submission workflow interface. So it's another workhorse product that we have enabled, but it was also the most complex. It had a lot of features built into it that can be intimidating to a first-time user. So we chose inventory as a start. Let's take our most complicated module and how can we streamline this? How can we improve the UI UX? One of the first things we wanted to work on was to reduce the number of icons within our inventory module. When you go to our product container and lot level, and I'll show you this in a couple of screens, there are a lot of icons. that are difficult to memorize and utilize, and we recognize that, right? There were tooltips that made it that were helpful, that allowed you to quickly see what the icon did, but we needed a way to streamline that without removing that capability or that functionality. So I'll show you the next screen how we improved the icon scenario, the situation. We also improved integration throughout from, I guess, within our products. So the synchronization of projects from RegMol to inventory has now been enabled in 7.0. And we've also done a lot of sample registration management improvement. So lot and container management has been improved. Bulk import features have been improved. Many of our users register samples in bulk, either from a vendor catalog, a vendor flat file, etc., and it needs to be imported into our inventory module. So many of those features were clunky and not intuitive, and we worked hard to streamline them, make them more efficient, and automate as much as possible whenever we could. I'm going to focus on the number of icons, though. So again, I'm just showing off like a proud papa. This is the old homepage. This is the new homepage. It's a new streamlined look, new color scheme. It's a little bit easier on the eyes. But what I was discussing in terms of icons, if you were to go to our product category and inventory, you would notice that at the very bottom here, and I'll zoom in, there are a number of icons that people have to navigate in order to do their next step or to create or to go through their workflow. So one of the first things we did is we streamlined the look, but we also reduced the number of icons that were in the container detail. I'm going to click on the next screen to show you a little bit more blown up. This was before, this was after, but the functionality remains the same. If I'm to click on this drop-down menu, so for example, if I click onto options, we now have a drop-down menu that's easier to navigate and utilize in inventory. So rather than hovering over each icon to wait for the tooltip to appear, you can now quickly see what you want to do, right? If I want to partially use this container, I can use that. I know because I'm the demo guy that it would be this icon over here. Actually, no, I don't even know. It might be this icon. Now it's been clear. So we worked hard to try to improve the user experience for inventory. And as I said, inventory was the first product that we based most of our ideas off of, and then expanded it to our other products, as this had the most complex functionality in terms of icons within our product suite. Okay. All right. So that's what's new with version 7.0. There are a lot of new release feature lists and release notes that we will be happy to answer. You just reach out to us, as Joanna said earlier, info@scilligence.com. You can reach out to us as well at sales@scilligence.com, and we'd be more than happy to go through the new updated version with you and answer any questions that you may have. What I'd like to go now, though, into is share with you a little bit of our roadmap, what we have planned for the future. What are we doing in the next year, perhaps the next 2 years? So we do have plans sketched out all the way to 2024, believe it or not. We're not just hightailing it and winging it. We have quite a lot of exciting features and new functionality that we want to unveil. And I'm going to guide you through the projected roadmap for next year, for 2023. Well, actually end of this year and into next year. So for version 7.1, we have an estimated release time of late December. And the exciting thing of 7.1 will be the enhancement of our existing formulation capabilities and the rollout of our lipid nanoparticle modality capability. So lipid nanoparticles is something that we've been hearing lipid nanoparticle management is something that we have repeatedly heard from our leads, from our demos, and this is feedback that we've taken internally and tried to develop throughout our ELN and registration systems to make sure that we can handle that capability. Again, the advantage of our platform is that it's customizable, so we can evolve and grow with the needs and the new evolving therapeutic modalities that are appearing in the drug discovery realm. We also have a list of new functionalities for our existing products. So new functionalities for Conjugate Builder, for our notebook inventory, and our focus modules. For 7.2, we're going to roll out Dell as a standalone module. So to my knowledge, Scilligence is the only company that has Dell Informatics. And we have a Dell platform that's highly customized to large clients, but we want to also make it available to the general the general public, if you will, people who are involved in their Dell initiatives that may not be the large behemoth pharmaceutical companies that have a highly customized version of our product. We're very proud of our Dell platform, but we want to improve it and make it more accessible to everybody. And so for version 7.2, we do plan to disentangle it as a standalone module from our existing RegMol and be able to release it to clients. We also plan to have the inaugural rollout of our IMS system, our instrument management system. This is a new module that will essentially be a lightweight version of a LIMS system where you can schedule preventive maintenance for existing instruments. You can schedule time for instrumentation use within your laboratory, calibration of the instrument, inventory of the type of instrumentation that you have. It really will be a web-based instrumentation management system for the lab. This is something, again, that we've heard feedback from our clients that they would like to have the capability of a LIMS system for their existing instrumentation, and also to scale up to see what they can connect to. I'll move over to 7.3. We will feature a data structure revamp with the removal of the XML layer from RegMol and inventory. So this is something that has often prevented us from specific customizations or specific configurations. And the removal of this layer, I think, will enhance and make us more agile in being able to implement specific needs for the client. And of course, we have new functionalities for ELN and Focus that are consistently streaming in as we get internal and external feedback. For 7.3, and this is late next year, we will feature a revamp to the RegMol foreign key functionality as well as PMF functionality. PMF is a crucial module that we utilize to create customized workflows. It's a workflow engine throughout our existing modules, as well as with third-party integration. So this will be a major revamp to that functionality. For 7.5, late next year, we will also we aim to be able to feature front-end configurability for both RegMol and inventory. We have, as Joanna showed you in the earlier slides, we have hired quite a number of young and talented developers. We're very excited to have a front-end developer join our team earlier this year, and we want to utilize his skill set to be able to configure some front-end capabilities for our tool set. And finally, at the end, or maybe for 2024, for version 8.0, right, we're thinking way ahead, we will release a universal biology ELN form, as well as conjugate visual representations of those biologic components. One of the talks that was going to happen after mine was MolBio. This is something that our biology product manager would present. So this is another exciting new tool that we plan to release soon that has enhanced biology capabilities for our software. And so hopefully it'll be ready by, if not late next year, early 2024. How do we come up with this roadmap? How do we constantly feed in the new functionalities for our existing products? And how do we assess new ideas and client requests? Well, we do have a process. The team members propose new features. We start out with just the proposal of the feature. And these can come from customer requests, trends that we're noticing in the industry, unmet needs that our products have, as well as user experience improvement and user interface improvement. Automation, as much as we can implement in our product, is key. The more we can automate certain workflows and processes, the less chance of human error, and the more efficient our workflow will become. So we take all of these ideas together and we meet internally. We have product teams that place the new features into our roadmap. And there are a lot of discussions. So we discuss what's the industry demand for this type of feature? What's the technical assessment? Is this easily implementable? Will it suck up a lot of our development resources? There's a lot of give and take and balancing acts that we have to take into consideration before we immediately move into the next thing. As exciting as it may be, the return on investment may not be there. So that's discussed in depth before it moves on to the next phase, which is the actual roadmap. And that's what I was showing you earlier. Where in the roadmap will this land? Is it something that can be easily done? Is it not, etc.? So once the roadmap has been developed, it provides guidance to us. It allows us to use our development resources. It allows our quality assurance department to prepare for the new feature or the enhanced capability of our existing product. And crucially, it also allows our support team to be trained thoroughly on this new feature. So a lot of work and time goes into not just enhancing our existing product, but also developing new features and new tools to Scilligence. The industry is moving fast. It's evolving very quickly. So we have to have this framework in place in order to successfully develop the tools that the industry actually needs. All right. I've gone through a lot. I'm giving you a what's new with Scilligence. I highlighted a couple of product features in 7.0. I've given you an insight to our product roadmap and how we develop that roadmap. The next phase and the last, oh, I'm sorry, my apologies. I almost forgot. This is another exciting feature that we have that we're working on, and hopefully we can roll out in the near future. Scilligence ELN for EDU. So ELN for EDU is an exciting new concept that is being promoted by our application consultant, Cameron McConnell, who will give a couple of presentations after mine, as well as our development team, in that the idea was to have a streamlined access for our universities and academia. So it would basically be a button-down, low-cost, feature-rich solution for academics with the single-step reaction template of our ELN, as well as the free-form template. So this will have the advantage, or this will have a major feature advantage for our academic users in that they'll be able to utilize our ELN, but in a more stripped down fashion and a more low-cost, feature-rich solution. So essentially the advantages that our existing users have with the single-step reaction, we plan to transpose onto our academic potential clients and academic users. So this has the robust structure search engine that comes with ELN, our smart stoichiometry tables within the single-step reaction. And we're going to trim it down so that we can offer a low-cost and feature-rich solution. But the key here is that we want to make sure that the digitalization of an academic lab is more easily make it more easy for them to go from paper-based notebooks to an actual digital software, such as ours. And so with that comes a number of advantages, right? So the main one is that you will now have access to a digital database that preserves your knowledge. So if a graduate student leaves the PI lab, that knowledge isn't lost, or the paper-based notebook that nobody can read isn't shelved in the dusty corner somewhere. People can actually have access to it, and it's easily searchable, easily utilized by the next graduate student that'll pick up that work. So this is, again, products that we're working on in the future. We're very excited to roll this out, and there are a lot of things that we have working within Scilligence that I'm looking forward to in the next year or two. Okay, now I'll end it with our Scilligence partnership updates. So one of the things that we were very excited about was the introduction of a new partner. We've always had strategic partnerships. We realized that we can't do it all. And so we partner with what we consider to be the best in class. And so the partnerships enable the functionality that's integrated out of the box and can easily integrate with our products as well as their products. One of our new partners is Chemical.ai. So Chemical.ai has signed the partnership with our company earlier this year. And the idea is we're going to have an integration with our ELN to their ChemAirs software package. I'm not going to say too much about it, as that's an upcoming talk given by Kevin Wu and Cameron McConnell. They'll be able to give you more details. I will give a special shout out to Kevin Wu, as he is based in China and it is very late for him right now. So he had to wake up early to make this presentation, or actually stay up late. So many thanks to to your perseverance, Kevin. But this is it's exciting news. AI often tends to be a buzzword within our industry that everybody has, either AI or machine learning. But the reality is this is a very useful tool that will help in the design aspect of the design, make, analyze, and test drug discovery cycle. So there's a lot of useful capabilities with chemical.ai and the partnership within our ELN. We will discuss enhanced CAS integration. So we have partnered with CAS for many years now, and we have a very successful partnership with CAS RN. And we're also working on an integration with SciFinder N capabilities with CAS. Again, Cameron will give a presentation describing this, not only this partnership, but the enhanced capabilities that we've developed based on client feedback and based on our developer work. We also have a talk from Certara. I mentioned the drug discovery cycle of design, make, test, and analyze. We've had a very successful partnership with Certara's D360, where we act as the data warehouse or the data in portion of this cycle, and they act as the data out or the analyzation and analyzed section of the drug discovery cycle. So David Lois is going to give a presentation as well today discussing the successful partnership. It's really, we have quite a number of case studies and success stories with this partnership. I love working with the folks at D360. It's always a pleasure, and I'm really happy that Dave was able to take time out of his schedule to present. And last but certainly not least, we do have a partnership with TetraScience. So the integration between Scilligence and TetraScience will be discussed by Michael Huang, who will also give a presentation after this talk, discussing the workflows and I believe what they call liquefaction of data in order to enhance instrument data transfer between an instrumentation and our own software. So with that, I think I'm at the 35-minute mark. I tried to go as fast as I could. I'm open to a few questions. Thank you very much for your patience and for listening to me. All right. And what I'll do is, oh, I wasn't showing my camera. I'm sorry. Oh, I can't. All right. Are there any questions anybody would ask? If not, we can go on to the next speaker.
Thank you, Alan.
I think there's a Steve has a question. Steve Unger. Maybe Steve, can you type the question in the chat?
So Steve, I noticed your hand was raised, so I've allowed you, you're able to ask your question as well if, oh, it's in the chat box. The question from Steve is, can you expand on the LIMS to instrument connectivity?
Sorry, the unmute button was normally at the bottom. I was trying to unmute. Yeah, I can expand a little bit on that connectivity of LIMS. So this is more of a lightweight instrument management system that we've been working on developing for a future release. And so the idea is that it'll really just help manage your instrumentation for either, calibration, scheduling of specific instrument use. So for example, if you have a HPLC or a UPLC that is heavily used and you want to block off some time to use it, you need a software system that can manage those that scheduling and that time block off within our own product suite. So it was just a response to some client asks and client feedback on this. Now, it'll combine with SDMS to deal mainly with equipment and instrument scheduling, but it is not meant to replace, for example, integration with a third-party LIMS system. We can also handle that. Perhaps, Jimbo, I don't know if you want to add on to that.
Yeah, I think the IMS is basically called instrument management system. It's not there's so many LIMS system on the market already. I think our position is really not to develop another LIMS system to compete with dozens, if not hundreds of LIMS system on the market. So our goal is really based on our customers' feedback, how we can make the integration, the data flow seamless, and introduce a module that help our customer to manage their instrument calibration and sample scheduling. And in terms of the data that coming from instrument, it's actually handled in our SDMS module, and with integration with our partner solutions, such as TetraSign solution as well. So it's really, we are not trying to do everything, just using Scilligence solution. We want to actually build an ecosystem so that data is really can be fair. Yeah. So that's what I would like to chime in on. Yeah. And there are a couple of more questions. Joanna, you want to read it to Alan? I guess.
Yes, of course. Another question we've received is, could you expand upon the enhanced capabilities available within RegMol, please?
Oh, I could. That's a long list. It's better suited for our product managers, but I can emphasize on some. So, for entity types, for example, we do have enhanced SALT registration capabilities where we are able to much better handle fractional salts. What's the word I'm looking for? Adding the salt registration or neutralization to a parent. So for example, if you're uploading a salt, but you don't want the parent structure to contain that salt, and it's only affected at the batch level, we're able to to accommodate for that, whereas in the past we couldn't. We do have enhanced uniqueness checks. We were able to improve a few behind the scenes fixes, for example, error messages that come out in JSDraw when you're trying to register something. In the past, the error messages, the feedback that we got was that they were unclear and a bit confusing. So it required a lot of back and forth for us to try to figure out what was going on. Now those have been redesigned so that it gives more clear representation of what the error is. There's a bulk registration improvements that we've made in terms of saving mappings for the bulk registration, making it a little bit more streamlined so that if you just want to upload from a specific vendor list, let's say, for example, it's more easily adaptable in bulk registration. The list of features for RegMol is quite long, and I don't have it memorized just yet. But if you'd like to reach out for more information, we'll gladly be able to send you out the release notes on RegMol. And I believe this is Cherry Stevenson. Yeah, so we'll reach out to you. All right. Well, again, thank you for your time and your patience with me. I hope I was able to give you a bit of an insight for 7.0. And now I'm looking forward to our partner and our client talks. Take care.